Hey kiddos, in this video we're going to go over exit ticket 6.5, lesson 2 for Pythagorean theorem. In the following we see that it states that the legs of a right triangle measure 15 and 20. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and draw the two legs of my right triangle. I'm going to label A is equal to 15, and I'm going to label B is equal to 20. And we need to figure out which of the following expressions could be used to determine the measure of the hypotenuse, which would be C. So, and then really important here, select all. So because it says select all, there's going to be more than one correct answer. So what do we have to write out first? You should be writing the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared every single time you are working this out. When you have your quiz, what I will be looking for is exactly this, that you're writing out the formula and then substituting what you know, in our case, which is the legs, a squared being 15 squared, plus b squared, which is 20 squared, is equal to c squared. And as I go through this line by line, you should see the work. I should see your thinking, just like you're going to see my thinking here, that, hey, 15 squared is the same as 15 times 15. 15 times 15 is 225. 20 squared is 20 times 20. 20 times 20 is equal to 400. So this expression here would be 225 plus 400 is equal to c squared. Now we're not looking for c squared, we just want to know what is c. So that means I need to add these two, which gives me 625, and that'll be equal to c squared. And in order to find c, I take the square root of 625. So the square root of 625 is equal to c. Now let's take a look at our options. When we look at a, we don't see the square root at all. So therefore, we're going to cross out a. Likewise for c, we're going to cross out c because we don't see the square root of anything. In order to calculate what c is equal to, we have to find the square root of something. And in our case, it'd be 625. If we look at b, b is close, but what's missing with b? B does not have 15 squared, nor does it have 20 squared. That's the reason why B would be incorrect. 15 plus 20 would give us 35. That's not sufficient enough, or that's not appropriate for this particular question. When we look at D, yes, D is a possible equation that we would use, or a possible expression that we would use to find the hypotenuse, because it's the square root of 625. But is it the only one? No, it's not. Because when we take a look at E, we can see that 15 squared plus 20 squared, and we're finding the square root of that, that would be an expression that would also help us find what the hypotenuse of our right triangle is as well. In our case, 25 would be the value of C, and both D and E would be appropriate expressions that could help us determine the measure of our hypotenuse, which is C. What's super important for you kiddos is recognizing, one, writing out the equation, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Two, then substituting. If you can do this part mentally, that's okay, but I want to be able to see that you've written out that whatever that sum is equal to c squared, and then last but not least, the square root of that. If it's a perfect square, find out what that perfect square is. If it's not a perfect square, like we did in class, then leave it as the square root is equal to our hypotenuse. Great. Let's move on to our classwork for today.